because that ultimate day is a long, long ways off, and who knows what technology we might invent in the next 1,000 years or so. But right now we've got an immediate problem where we're surviving this century. And there's papers been written, I've written papers, been published in physics journals, projecting and predicting that we can be off outside of our solar system with exploratory vehicles by the end of this century, provided we don't blow ourselves up with stupidities in the process in the meantime. And that's our big challenge, is to get our act together, quit killing each other, and learn to live in a sustainable civilization on this planet.
If you were to look around the world right now, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, what country would you say is most likely to trigger an event that would cause us to blow ourselves up?
Well, I think the Mideast is a hot spot right now, and if we keep doing the stupid things we've been doing, we'll just aggravate it even more. But the Mideast is certainly a hot spot, and in due course could quite possibly have the weaponry. We have nuclear weaponry, and we've been able to forestall the use of that. But if we ever get to the point where we start to use it, and in due course we might, then it's all over with. It'll escalate. Violence only creates more violence. And if we continue to escalate it, we will eventually use that.
Do you think that we should do you think that we should preemptively get the weapons out of the hands of the Middle East?
We should, yes, but you're not going to do it by force. We need to, we have to protect ourselves, that is true, but we have to start negotiations and diplomatic approaches, and people have to start to realize we're all in this together. I mean, it was said very early in the American Revolution, properly, we either hang together or we all hang separately. In the larger sense of a global civilization, it's the same thing right now, but only the nations that are hanging together, they're going to hang separately.
When you say that when we go to Mars, we're going to look back and we're not going to say, I'm from United States, I'm from England, we're going to say we're from the Earth. So based on that premise, do you think that we should just open our southern borders and quit playing this country border thing?
Well, let's admit there are very difficult problems here, and I certainly don't know the answer to all of them, by any means, and none of us do. But there are human beings in the third world countries in all parts of the world that are living in poverty, that we need to help lift that poverty. We need to help people find ways to support themselves and their families. But also, this implies learning self-responsibility. We have to learn to limit our progeny. We have to quit having children. Remember, 100 years ago, it was considered normal for a family to have 20 children, and a woman to bear 20 children or so in a lifetime. That was normal. In some countries of the world, it's still close to that. But and the Chinese, as you're well aware, by edict, limited the size of their families here a few years ago. Now, that was a draconian approach, but it's worked. And we have to help people find ways to sustain themselves and create a sustainable economy, but at the same time, we have to imbue a sense of personal responsibility to help be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem.
Okay. We have this question from the Edge live chat. Dr. Mitchell, when you talk about consciousness, is there more than individual consciousness? Is there a global consciousness?
Yes, the answer is that is exactly what quantum correlation and quantum resonance does. Is some examples of that, just a simple example, is how often have we seen novel ideas pop up almost simultaneously in different parts of the world. It's happened throughout all history. But the so-called twin effect of twins in different countries, going on to travel in different parts of the world on any given day, it's been studied quite a bit. Wear the same colored dress, or have the same type of thoughts. In other words, this quantum resonance that takes place between lovers, between siblings, expanded to the larger scale is a cultural phenomenon. And that's what a cultural paradigm is. That's, you do things in a particular culture because enough people think that way that that becomes reality. And the country next door has quite a different idea about the same things. Mm-hmm. But that is a part of the whole equation here. As we become global, we need to resolve conflict and move more toward cooperation, mm-hmm. in which case this global mind will start to take over.
Mm-hmm. Do you think one of the main precursors to that would be to change the current government in Washington?
Well, I think we're going to have a different government in Washington. That is quite true.
Well, do you feel like the current administration has been provocative in escalating these inter-country squabbles?
Yes, certainly has.
It didn't seem like the way when we started, and it seems like it sort of grew that way. I mean, is it just man coming out of the cave? He wants to get the club again. Is that the kind of people we got in Washington right now?
This whole thing has been oriented more toward, it's more driven by the concept of greed and bigness and corporate structure, and that money and accumulating great wealth brings happiness. And it's very obvious from all the sort of sociological studies that simply isn't true. Mm-hmm. And the gap between the haves and the have-nots is getting greater and greater. Mm-hmm. And the middle class globally, because of this phenomenon, is disappearing. Mm-hmm. And that trend has got to be changed. It has come out of the so-called neocon environment that has been a total disaster.
Mm-hmm. Have you? Do you have a flat panel high def television?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. We have this question here, and I guess it was bound to come up. Edgar, are you a Mason?
Yes.
Does that? Okay. Well, good. Well, how does that affect your view?
It doesn't. Although I admire the Masonic Order and their devotion to civil helping the society, mm-hmm. and the devotion to that.
Yeah.
I have never been very active in it, but
okay.
Because of my military career, I've been on the move so much.
Yeah.
But my family was active in it. And,
okay.
I know many very wonderful people that are in the Masonic Order.
So just quell this rumor. Masons don't go around doing like mystical spells on people, do they?
I beg your pardon, please?
Masons don't go around and doing, casting spells on people. I mean, every once in a while somebody asks questions like that. I'm thinking, what is they're talking about?
So. It's an organization devoted to doing good. For example, the Shriners, the children's hospitals, and that sort of thing.
Okay. All right. And so you've kind of mentioned that you are trying to find common ground between science and spirit. Have you been able to convince your peers that spirit exists and that they too need? Have you made any progress among your own peers that way?
Well, my organization, the Institute of Noetic Sciences, is in 30 countries and has been growing very rapidly, and we have many hundreds of thousands of people that have followed our approaches to these things. Non-dogmatically, it's mm-hmm. searching what are the answers to help us be better, mm-hmm. and using these techniques of mind and self, mm-hmm. and transcendent thinking to get us where we need to go. Take responsibility for this culture.
Okay, is it possible, going with the consciousness theme, that say more people such as yourself would gather together, or at a certain period, should I say, consciously activate your conscience and try to project, say, across the world, peace for the terrorist minds? Is it possible to do something like that?
We've been doing that all along.
Well, yeah, it hasn't been working, has it?
Well, it takes a little time. You got to get more and more people. You got to build a cadre of people.
All right.
That are working in that direction. It'll take place.
Okay.